Hey guys, JP here from Chin Up. Now if you've ever been on one of our shows, you'll know we've got all sorts of fancy stuff going on stage. We tend to get tons of questions about how everything works, so I figured I'd take this opportunity to show you what's going on in our live rig. So our live rig does a lot more than just producing the sound of the guitars that people in the audience are going to hear. It also controls our in-ear monitoring mix and allows us to record every single one of our shows. On top of that, we can use MIDI to trigger things like sound effects and video clips on the screens that we pop on top of our amps. So in the rack itself, we have a faceplate along the top for plugging in all of our instruments. We have two wireless transmitters for our in-ear packs. We have a power amp at the bottom for actually making everything loud. And the brains of the operation is this thing here in the middle, our Line 6 Helix rack. Now I think we're really pushing what we can do with the Line 6 Helix here. So let me go into how it all works. So as well as being a great guitar effects processor, Line 6 Helix rack is also an 8 input, 8 output digital audio interface. This allows us to send up to 8 tracks of audio to our computer to run our in-ear mixes. Unfortunately, we only have access to 4 channels of audio processing, but each of these channels is stereo, so with some clever routing, we can work around this. The first channel is for my guitar at the top there. That comes in on effects return 1, goes through my signal chain, and then gets sent out to our power amp before going through cabinet simulation and being sent through USB 3 by hard panning left. Ignore the start of this channel just now because this is where Trav's guitar comes in. He comes in on effects return 2. He has his own floorboard, so we don't have to do any effects processing here. We just send it straight to our power amp, go through cab simulation, and then out through USB 4 by hard panning right. Now this is where things start to get funky. On this third channel we have our backing vocals coming in on the auxiliary input on the back of the Helix. We take a send from the front house desk with just the backing vocals on that and send that out to the laptop via USB 1 and 2. Using the effects return 3 and 4 as a stereo pair allows us to receive a signal from Gav's bass pedal and the kick drum that we've put inside Dan's bass drum and send them to the laptop via USB 5 and 6. Now you might be saying to yourself, but that's only 5 tracks of audio, what about the other parts of your band? Now this is one of the quirks of the Line 6 Helix, and that is that the guitar input on the front here is always assigned to USB 7. Meaning that it doesn't matter if we're doing any processing in here, this will get sent straight to the laptop anyway on that channel. Now here's the funky thing, there is actually a guitar through on the back of the Helix, so whatever signal comes in here comes back out the other side unaffected. So we can actually send an input from my mic into the front of the Helix, back out through the send, and send that to front of the desk with the sound guy being none the wiser. As for the drums, a drum overhead, we're going to take that through our mic in, which is on the back of the Helix as well, and that goes in through USB 8 at all times. So again, we don't have to worry about any routing, it still gets sent to the laptop. It feels like it's out of control. So onto the laptop itself, we can see we have each one of our instruments coming in on its own separate channel. We have both guitars, Gav's bass, drums, we've got the kick and the overhead, we have the main vocal, and we have our desk send for the backing vocals. We also have this track here for our samples. This allows us to play back audio clips through our guitar amps on stage. Each one of these channels gets sent to 2 other mixes, as this is our main mix that gets sent to myself, Trav and Gav's in-ears at the front of the stage. Our second mix is for Dan behind the drum kit, and our third mix is actually a full mix of the band, so if we wanted to make any videos or audio clips from any shows we've played, we'd be able to pick them up from here. A little bit of tweaking, and it's normally not far away. We don't have any backing tracks or click tracks that we're playing to. We use this mainly for recording, so we can listen back to our performances and tweak things that might need changed, or if they're particularly good, we can share them with everybody. Now each one of these mixes actually gets sent back to the Helix slightly differently. We have our main mix going to outputs 3 and 4, our samples actually get sent to outputs 5 and 6, and our drum mix gets sent to output 1 and 2, and we'll explain how this works in just a second. back on the Helix, we can see the USB 3.4 input on the second channel, and this gets sent out via the effects send 3 and 4 to feed our main in-ear mix. By turning the through volume all the way down, we ensure that this does not affect Trav's guitar signal at all. USB 5 and 6 comes in on our fourth channel, and this gets sent out by the same effects send as our guitars, so that our sound clips get played back through the guitar camps on stage. Again, by turning the through volume all the way down, we can ensure that this does not have any effect on the bass or the kick signal. So the only thing we have left to figure out is how Dan gets his in-ear mix. Now, by default the Helix sends USB 1 and 2 to the main output of the Helix. So we've got that rigged up into the back of this wireless transmitter. Now in all honesty, we tend not to use this as Dan's normally sitting right next to the rack anyway, so we normally just send a headphone out here and we can adjust our volume for that on the Helix. So because the power amp for our guitars is housed within our rack unit, we don't need to take traditional amp heads to shows with us, meaning that we've got plenty of space on top of our guitar cabinets to put these big screens so we can have a nice big interactive and bright backdrop for when we're playing. Not only that, using the MIDI capabilities of the Helix, we can interface with a program on the laptop called OBS, or Open Broadcast Software, to trigger video clips and backdrop changes along with the songs. So for example, I can change the title of the song, and I can also trigger video clips. So there you have it folks, a brief insight into the live rig that we use in Shinner. Now if you have found this video informative or entertaining, please do give it a like. If you want to stay in touch, subscribe to the channel for more. We have a new album come out very shortly, and you don't want to miss the video for our first single. In the meantime, stay safe and hopefully we'll see you at gig near yous sometime soon. Ciao.